Alright, let's talk about thread count for a few minutes. It's probably the most confusing aspect of somebody out shopping for sheets. Most people think the higher the thread count, the better the set of sheets. And as that may be true, it's rarely an element in buying sheets, just because of the way that the thread counts are manipulated by either the manufacturer or big box retailers. Now, a good set of sheets really starts with the quality of the yarn, or the quality of the cotton thread that is used and loomed into it. You have poor quality thread and you try to do a high thread count, you're not going to get a very good quality sheet. You can have very good quality thread with very low thread count and have a great performing sheet. So it first starts with the yarn. Now there's three parts of a cotton ball. There's the outside of the cotton ball that's called picker. It's kind of the outer component that nature kind of built to protect it. It's kind of medium sized and it's resilient, but it doesn't have much body. Then inside the cotton ball there's these short little fibers called linter. It's kind of like the name of the lint on your clothes. And they're so small you can't work with them. And then inside is kind of like the center of the artichoke. It's the longest part of the fiber. It's very resilient. It's got a lot of great body. And it's called staple cotton. It got its name because it's the staple of the garment industry. The longer the fiber, the easier it is to connect them together, the easier it is to loom it. So good quality sheets are made with long staple cotton, or the yarn, and as a single pick, or one thread as you go through it. Now, you can buy cotton in a variety of parts of the world that have a variety of different qualities. It's not much different than wine. There's certain parts of the world that create a finer wine from a certain grape, and some parts you just can't get that same flavor from it. Well, it's no different than cotton. You get a fertile ground with some air coming across it, and that cotton will grow very luxurious. You just have a stable ground fertilization, or natural, or synthetic fertilization, and basic temperatures, and you get an okay cotton. So if you really want the finest sheets, it's not as much as if it's got a high thread count, but the quality of the yarn and where it came from. So everything we use and got you covered is a single, long, staple cotton. Now we loom them slightly different though to get a couple of different feels from it. So what you have is a long staple cotton that you can either do what you call a percale weave, which is over and under, like your knuckles, 1 over 1. It's a very tightly woven weave. Or we have what you call as a satin, or a sateen, which is a 1 over 4. And so the longer the staple, the more you pay for it, the higher the quality, the more you want that softness or luxurious to come out. You can weave it as a sateen. So if you look at anybody's sheets and it says, it may not say percale, but if it doesn't say sateen, or it doesn't talk about the weave, chances are they're using shorter fibers that are woven together to hit a price point, and usually there's so many connections to it, they've got to wrap them around each other to strengthen them, and many times we'll go 2, 3, or 4 wraps, so it's like a rope, and then they come in and they loom it. But they count those wraps as yarn, so you might be told you have 1,000 thread count, and it might only be loomed 250 times with 4 wrapped around fibers. Or you have a 600 thread count, maybe it's a 3-ply, and it's only woven 200 times. We assure you everything at Got You Covered has a true certified thread count. So when we say it's 300, it's true 300. One this way, one that way. One this way, one that way. And we get all the way up to our 618. It's the same thing. It's a true 618, and you can actually touch and feel the difference. It's dramatic, and you can tell. But the easy way to understand this is if you look at a square inch, or think about a square inch, and let's say we have our 200 thread count, and we got 200 threads in there, and now you want to weave a 618. Well, if you've already got 200 threads in there, how do you get the other 418 in? Well, you can't. So it's pretty logical. The only way to get 618 is to go to 1/3 of the width of that fiber. So you got to buy it from a whole total different part of the world to be able to weave that in there. So imagine if you go to 1,000 thread count, you got to go to 1/5 the thickness of that yarn and try to weave it in there. Now that's not as strong. So most people people, even in long staple, that say that it's 1,000 thread count will wrap even the long staple, and they'll weave it only 500 times, they'll call it 1,000.
Okay.
So there's a lot of misrepresentation of it. The only thing we can assure you is everything through here is a true thread count. What we say it is, and you're going to get the benefit.